Mission of Fit in 10. It is day 66. And, well, you can't really make mega massive change with 4 days and change left, but you can still make some change. Every day counts. Every day counts. I'll remind you, there are people in this challenge, maybe it's you, that are losing somewhere in between. Most people are losing somewhere between 2 and 8 ounces per day. So think about that. 4 days can still add up. Okay, so, you know, do not give up. Do not think it's over. It's not over till it's over. It's not over until you run your last scan. This is really a reminder for myself. I will put up that Zoom link shortly here for our finale, which is going to happen next week, which is crazy, right? Our finale will happen next week. Midweek, I'm thinking Wednesday, 12 p.m. Maybe I'll put up a couple times in Slack and see what people suggest or see what is most popular. All right, let's get into more of your feedback here. Name something specific you can improve upon for the following week. To be able to calculate what I am lifting. For example, when you say 30% of your 1 rep max. So 30% of your 1 rep max. If your 1 rep max was 100 pounds, you would just take 100 pounds, you would times it by 0.3, and you would get 30, right? That would be 30%. All right, so just times it by the percentage of your 1 rep max. If you don't know your 1 rep max, then and you're in the lift camp, then yeah, I don't think Martina's asking for 1 rep maxes in the Zoom classes because you guys don't do it. For lift camp, you know, again, just let me know, all right? Because I'm there, obviously, when I call this out. If you don't know, just ask, okay? All right, moving on because this person didn't write anything else. Name something specific you can improve upon for the following week. Eat more at breakfast so I feel fuller, trying to incorporate oats and protein. All right, so oats can be a tricky one. Oats are pretty calorie dense. So depending on how you're making your oats, if you make it with water, it's going to be much more filling. If you eat it raw, like I tend to do, you know, it's not very, certainly not very satiating. Same with protein, right? If you have protein powder, it's probably not going to be as satiating. Well, it won't be as satiating. It definitely won't be as satiating as, say, you know, steak or eggs or something like that. Is there anything you would like me to cover in this week's video series? In one of your past videos, you talked about the importance of eating before workouts, so the body has adequate energy supply. Can you talk about how fasted cardio works? So there's no evidence that fasted cardio makes any difference over non-fasted. Although people still swear by it, okay? Especially a lot of people in the bodybuilding or physique, competitive physique world. I'm not quite sure. Okay, so I guess you're relating this to eating before your workouts, as I've recommended, versus so yeah. So listen, you want to eat before you do your weight workouts. Why? Because you want to push yourself as hard as possible. You need some direct fuel for that. If you try to do, you know, if you're trying to, you know, do your 10 rep max on something or whatever it is that I call for, right? Whatever rep range we're working with, especially on our big movements, right? Like our squats, our deadlifts, our presses, rows, that type of thing. You want to make sure you've got that available energy. If you are doing exercise on an empty stomach, your blood glucose levels will be lower. And if you're not eating to get those blood glucose levels up, your body's got to really search out the energy, right? So, you know, you're not going to have as productive workouts. You're not going to be as strong. You just won't, okay? Just try it and you'll see. So make sure you eat before your weight workouts. If you want to do cardio fasted, I don't really mind. It's not like you're trying to do PRs on your cardio, right? the amount of energy necessary for your output of cardio is just not going to be the same. Okay? All right. Okay. This is where I actually was left off. This is where I left off yesterday. Is there anything you'd like me to cover in this week's video series? Weight loss for people with hypothyroidism. If you have a hypothyroid, if your thyroid levels are lower, your metabolic rate will not be quite where it should be, okay? Or it'll be a lot less, okay, depending on how hypo your hypothyroidism is. So you should be medicating, okay? Now, there may be some ways to naturally elevate it, although I'm not really sure how that compares to taking something like Synthroid or some other medication that you can take for your thyroid. Essentially, you're taking exogenous thyroid hormone, exogenous T3. So, in this case, I'm assuming you have hypothyroidism. So I would hopefully you're remembering to take your medication, right? Hopefully you're taking some medication for this, or else, yeah, this is going to be a problem for weight loss, okay? All right, name something specific you can improve on for the following week. All right, I'm at June 20th, by the way, so this is great. I am back home and will return to my previous detailed measure of everything to make sure I'm exactly within my macros these last 3 weeks. All right, so I guess you weren't measuring while you were away. Although for you, I know you mentioned that this person is doing exceptionally well, by the way. So well they don't want to lose more weight. So, anyways, name something specific you need help with. Nothing springs to mind. Is there anything you'd like me to cover in this week's video series? I realize that you have talked about it, but would like to revisit the discussion about oils. I make a lot of dressings with oils, so the oil is not heated. Can I use olive oil? Avocado oil? Some baking recipes ask for vegetable oil. Is this good or bad? Apologies of the if, I think you're trying to say. Apologies if this feels like a repeat. Yeah, so it's essentially we really want to stay away from these polyunsaturated oils. These oils that, if anybody has a chemistry background, polyunsaturated just means there's multiple double bonds in the chemical structure of the fat, and this just makes it more reactive. It makes it more likely to what's the word I'm looking for here? Essentially, it's less stable. Okay, it's more likely to react to other things. It's more likely to be oxidized. That's what I'm looking for. And so consequently, it's going to be it's more carcinogenic. Okay, you want to have a fat that is stable, so more of a saturated fat. So that's what I would recommend. Why they call for vegetable oil for a cooking recipe, I'm not sure. Maybe it has something to do with its. Maybe it has something to do with the way, or it's going to help it to bake in a certain way. I'm not really sure. But if it were me, I think I'd just use butter in place of that, to be honest with you. Use real butter, okay? In terms of salad dressings, yeah, you could use olive oil. There's nothing wrong with that. That's mainly, there's some polyunsaturated fat, but it's got a good amount of monounsaturated fat in it. Same with avocado oil, okay? I have not been sending my macros in the past, so this is additional comments. I've not been sending my macros in the past 10 days while I was away. I could not measure everything exactly as I've been doing at home. I've continued to eat similar foods as I've been eating previous weeks, but appreciate that I may have been off my numbers. I've been doing 3 online sessions a week and 3 runs every day. Okay. Well, I have nothing to say about this person in terms of improving, because they're doing really well. Like, I don't want to say how well, but they're doing well. All right, name something specific you can improve on for the following week. Getting back on track. I've really messed up my back. I can still not bend over without crying. Without crying, really? That does not sound good. It sucks and is really making me discouraged. been able to get out on my bike a couple times, but really I've been able to move well the last 2 weeks. Okay, so I would suggest if you can bike, do as much biking as you can. Do as much of whatever you are able to do. Okay. Yeah, I mean, with a back injury, I mean, if it's this bad, and I know it's been like, it seems to me, if I'm looking at the date, if I remember correctly, you've had a bad back for 4 weeks. So I would really get this checked out. I would try to get an MRI on it or something. Get somebody to look at it because it seems pretty serious. It should have resolved itself by now if it's a muscular issue, I would think. But do your best, okay? You can still do your diet. Okay, you can still measure your food. You can still, don't, if you are encountering some obstacles, and I'm not suggesting you're doing this. I'm just saying this in general, right? If you're encountering some obstacles, just don't throw everything out the door, right? Say, okay, what can I do? What can I do, right? What are some things that I can do? What are some movements that I can do? What are some of the cardio things I can do, like, riding your bike, right? What are some exercises you can do? Exercises that are on your back, for instance. Or maybe there are some exercises that you can do, like, a body weight squat or something like that. Okay? I'm not suggesting you can, but maybe, I don't know. I don't know how bad your back is with different movements. You just have to try it and see. Also, I will say this, right? Unless you're severely injured, like literally you can't walk, some level of movement is going to be good for you, okay? Like, it's going to be better than just lying around. Name something. How am I doing for time here? I'm at 12 minutes. I guess I'll get to the message of the day. All right, message of the day. Message of the day. You're as happy as you allow yourself to be. No one else is in control of how you view the world and your life. Your happiness is up to you. This is really interesting because, and I will be the first to admit that this is a hard one. But, if you ask somebody like Martina about people in her home country. So Martina's originally from Cameroon, which is a country that is near the equator in Africa on the west side of Africa. There's a lot of poverty there. There's an extreme amount of poverty. And but she will tell you, the people there are super happy. They are very, very happy people. She would say they're much happier than people here. They have nothing. This is very interesting, right? They have nothing in really any capacity. I think she mentioned that they had a helper in their family growing up who literally he had the same pair of shoes for the last 40 years. Okay, we're talking about people that literally live in, or they have no running water, no electricity, but yet they are the happiest people. Okay, I don't know if the happiest, but they are very happy. They're happier than people here, generally speaking, which is very interesting. And certainly, they would have a lot to be unhappy about. So, what is happiness, right? Where does happiness come from? I think ultimately it really comes from our own mindset, how we choose to see things. And, again, I think that listing out things, basic things that we have, and being thankful for those, and then reminding ourselves about how lucky we are, can help to, change our perspective, can change the way that we feel about things, and I think will contribute a lot to our happiness, right? The other thing I will suggest too is, one thing that Martina mentioned to me about people in her home country is that they socialize a lot. They spend a lot of time with each other. I think that maybe that could be something that we lack here, right? So, this is a very interesting topic, but I do believe in this message that, you're as happy as you allow yourself to be. No one else is in control of how you view the world and your life, or your life. Your happiness is up to you. All right, positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, and for the love of God, give some gratitude. I will talk to you guys soon here. 4 days to go, 4 days and change. Keep going, sprint through the finish line, and let's see how well you do. Remember, your weight is not an indicator of your progress. Your weight, your body weight, is not an indicator of your progress. Okay, we'll talk to you all very soon. See you guys.